At Xenon Academy, the freshmen think it is just a normal day until the Professor JRO rolls out a rare mana measuring device. He says the goal is simple: find out if a monster is hiding among the students. Argon goes first. The orb flashes quality 4 and quantity 17. Already, he is way above last year's average. Then Furion steps up. He hits quality 6 and quantity 20, making the whole room gasp in shock. But then, the sleepy kid Damien finally wakes up and touches the orb. He shatters their pride with quality 9 and a massive quantity of 67. Now, everyone looks at Asta. He tries to stay low, but the system flashes a perfect 10 for his score. It spits an error because the threshold is shattered. Asta forces a rerun and fakes a quality 3 and quantity 15. Well, there is a good reason why our main character is hiding his true powers. Not too long ago, Asta, a troubleshooter for House Declan, stole a secret tome. He was tracked down by assassins, but he is no ordinary mage. He wipes them all out, leaving one survivor for a little interrogation session to get some real answers. Asta pins the hunter down with his overwhelming magic power. He demands to know how to use the tome, but the hunter reveals he has no clue. Asta realizes that Lord Declan might not even know what this tome is worth. If he did, he would not have buried it in some rusty basement. Yet they still chased him down for the book. Even though Declan himself does not seem to know how to actually use the thing. The hunter suggests Asta hands over the tome. He offers to help him beg for mercy from the head of the house. Asta refuses and makes it clear that he is about to end this man's life right now. Suddenly, a portal rips open behind him. A terrifying and overwhelming aura begins to leak out of it. The aura belongs to a sharp-looking man holding a cane. He looks like pure trouble. Meet Farron Declan, the legendary head of House Declan and a man of immense power. Farron tells Asta he wants his book back. Then, they can have a nice, quick little chat. Asta is completely overwhelmed by the sheer power standing right before him. He has been a troubleshooter for over 10 years now, and half of that time was with House Declan, but this is the first time he has ever seen the leader in person. House Declan is the top, the strongest magic family on the continent. Rumors say Farron is the most powerful mage in their entire history. Asta can feel how dangerous this man is, but he decides to keep his cool. Asta asks Farron if he is really going to shamelessly steal someone else's hard-earned loot. Farron actually laughs at that. But Asta is sweating. He knows exactly what it means for the head of the house to show up. Asta admits to himself that Farron has the most oppressive aura he has ever encountered in his life. Farron makes it clear he could easily kill Asta and take the tome right now, but he prefers they have a little talk first. Farron tells Asta he wants him to come back and work for House Declan again. He promises to forgive every single one of his sins if he returns the book and comes back home. Farron admits Asta has insane talent. He really does not want to see it go to waste. Farron is actually impressed that someone from the gray zone managed to get this far, especially since Asta has mastered such deadly and effective techniques. Farron sweetens the deal. He tells Asta he can reach incredible heights if he lets House Declan back him up. After listing all the rewards, Farron ends with his main demand. Return the tome. This is not just a request. Right then, Asta tells Farron he accepts the terms. Farron finally lets out a massive sigh of relief. But wait, you and I knew there was a catch. Asta drops a condition that is absolutely savage. He wants the leadership of the entire house. Only then will he return that precious tome. To prove he is not playing, Asta executes his hostage right then and there. Farron is livid. He warns Asta that choosing this path leads straight to a cold, brutal grave. Asta knows the old man is right. But he lunges forward anyway. He absolutely needs to see how big their power gap really is. Farron blocks that blue energy blast effortlessly with a single red shield. Farron decides it is time for a reality check. He needs to show Asta who is really boss. Coolly standing there, just flexing his aura, Farron fires a magic blast that sends Asta flying back. Asta barely dodges the heat. That was way too close for comfort. He finally realizes the kind of power a house head holds. There is not a single opening to strike. The second Farron notices he is lost in thought, he slams him with another heavy magic attack. Farron tells him there is no need to measure strengths. The gap between them is way too high. Esther is trapped. A massive wave of magic is coming, and he cannot evade it. He takes a direct hit, but Farron held back, and he makes sure Esther knows it. He is not looking for a kill today, he just wants to have a little chat. Esther asks the big question, what happens if he actually goes back to House Declan? Farron admits he would never trust him. Esther loves the honesty. Since things are clear now, he starts charging up another massive magic attack. Esther is finished being a messenger. He is done being anyone's loyal dog. He pours everything into this. His magic glows as bright as a lightning strike. He leaps toward Farron. Releasing the blast, he screams that he is never going back into a kennel. But even his ultimate move cannot break through Farron's absolute defense. Now, Farron is ready to show him what real power actually looks like. Esther gets hit so hard his life flashes before his eyes, sending him deep into his own memories. By the time he opens his eyes, Farron is standing over him, looking down like a god. He asks if Esther has finally seen true power. Esther admits the guy is strong. If they are going to talk, he has one question. Can he go back to being a troubleshooter? Is that even on the table? Farron has bigger plans. He wants Esther to be much more than a simple fixer. He actually wants him to lead the Bongshan family as their new head. Esther is completely stunned. He did not see this offer coming at all. Since House Declan is strong enough to challenge the throne itself, Esther figures it out. They want him as head of a vassal house, so he will swear total loyalty to the Declan family. Esther finally figures out what Farron's real goal actually is. He reaches into his storage and pulls out that mysterious tome. Farron grins when he sees it. He tells Esther that he actually wants both him and that tome. Farron is relieved. He thinks Esther is finally making the smart move. As Farron reaches for it, Esther sets the book ablaze. The old man is completely speechless. Farron screams, asking what he is doing. Esther just tells him he never had any intention of giving it up. Farron makes a chilling promise. Esther is going to die a slow, painful death. Esther finally drops the truth. Money was never the motivation for his job. No, it is personal. Esther is absolutely furious that his teammate was sacrificed to satisfy some spoiled young master and his forbidden magic. Declan simply buried the truth and moved on. Farron is stunned by the confession. It finally clicks. This is not business, it is cold-blooded revenge. Esther clarifies his stance. He is simply demanding justice for those he lost. He even admits to Farron that this whole spree was meant to be his retirement. Then, with a chilling calm, Esther delivers his final words. Farron has heard enough. He ignites him, screaming for Esther to burn and die in regret. But through the roaring flames, Esther shouts back, he has absolutely nothing to regret. He was willing to lose everything just to escape the shadow of House Declan forever. As the inferno swallows him whole, Esther feels a strange sense of freedom. He vows that if rebirth exists, he will truly destroy them next time. Suddenly, everything stops. Time itself seems to have frozen. Esther is baffled, but that mysterious tome is still glowing brightly in his hands. Glowing magic circles begin manifesting all over his broken body. This surreal light is the last thing he sees before everything goes black. When he finally wakes up, he is surrounded by filth in a literal dump. Shock sets in as he realizes he is back in the past. He is a kid again, stuck in the slums of the gray zone. He makes his way to a lake, desperate to look at his reflection and confirm his identity. It is him, just a younger version. Even more insane, the fire mark on his chest survived the trip through time. He has no clue how he returned to the past, but the tome magic was definitely involved. It makes sense now, why the head of the house would hunt him to the ends of the earth for it. Still, he knows almost nothing about what the tome actually is. He is basically clueless. But with this second chance at life, Esther realizes the board has been reset. It is time to finish what he started and achieve his ultimate dream. He remembers his true mission, a goal he shared with his fallen comrade. He recalls a conversation they once had about why they were born into the dirt. His friend told him that education was the only way to escape their miserable fate. Without it, they were just tools for the wealthy trash to use and discard. That was the spark. Estelle wanted to open a massive library, a sanctuary where everyone, regardless of status or wealth, could read and learn for free. More than that, he wants to build an entire tower dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge. He does not even need it for power, he just wants it to exist. He even plans to print the secret techniques of House Declan right on the first page of every book. He wants the poorest kids in the slums to have the ultimate power. He is already imagining how glorious the fallout will be. Now, he just needs to steal that manual. He is enjoying his wicked plan when a sudden kick slams into his face. He looks up to find some angry thug demanding to know where he was. The guy keeps kicking him, complaining about how he had to hold his seat. Honestly, Estelle can barely even remember this arrogant douchebag, who is currently treating him like a literal punching bag. But Estelle is done being trash. He reaches out and grabs the thug by the leg. He tells the guy he's been hit 7 times, so he'll pay him back 70 times over. Estelle throws a punch right at the dude's chest, but his weak body fails and he sprains his wrist. Our hero is absolutely stunned. But while he's still processing his own weakness, a fist slams into his face again. The bully goes right back to finishing the job on poor Estelle. Those kicks are brutal, actually bringing tears to our main character's eyes. The beating doesn't stop until Estelle finds a gap and shoves the guy straight into the lake. Before his attacker can even stand up, Estelle takes off running as fast as possible. The guy climbs out and yells after him, but Estelle just shouts back that it's a tactical retreat, not fleeing. He makes sure to tell the bully he'll never forget that face. He promises to remember every single hit he took today. Because as a veteran troubleshooter, he's just not the type of guy to ever give up. Revenge is coming. Later, he hides in a dark alley, staring at his useless, swollen wrist. It's pathetic. His body is so fragile it literally broke just from him trying to fight back. For now, Estelle decides to put his dreams on hold to focus on training this trashy, weak body. Suddenly, a kid with a striking red eye appears, asking if Estelle is hungry. Estelle is confused and asks if they've met. The boy just stares blankly, replying that he has no clue who Estelle is. Looking at him, Estelle can tell this kid must be from some noble family. He figures the brat probably lost a power struggle and ended up on the streets. Estelle basically labels him a walking time bomb. Then, the boy introduces himself simply as Damien. Why is this creepy kid just staring and spilling his life story? It's honestly a bit weird. Estelle is forced to ask if he's even mentally stable. Damien says he has no mom, and Estelle fires back that he has no dad. It's an orphan competition now. Estelle suggests they just go their separate ways. He really doesn't want to get tangled up with a dangerous kid like Damien. Moments later, Damien is still just standing there, which is totally creeping Estelle out. He asks if the kid's ever leaving. To his shock, Damien flat out says he's coming along. Estelle seriously considers smacking the kid just to snap him back to reality, but he thinks better of it. Instead, he just tells Damien to get lost and stay away. But then, Damien reaches out to touch Estelle's head injury, promising that he can actually heal him. With a truly unsettling smile, he summons a glowing magic circle that starts showering healing particles everywhere. At first, Estelle thinks it's just some basic trick, but he quickly realizes he's dead wrong. This isn't just some magic touch. This is the legendary light of healing. It's the top secret technique of House Blandor. Word was, House Blandor fell because of House Declan. Estelle realizes he's accidentally stumbled into something way more dangerous than he thought. Why would a kid from the Blandor family be hiding in the gray zone? According to the timeline he knows, the Blandor family should still be powerful right now. While overthinking, Estelle calls Damien's name. The kid perks up, revealing his other eye, which is bright green. The kid actually has 2 different eye colors. Seeing those eyes, Estelle suddenly remembers a terrifying detail. This boy with the odd eyes grows up to be the monster of Blandor, the infamous mad butcher who simply refuses to die, no matter how many times you kill him. As soon as Damien finishes patching up Asta's wounds, he just drops down to count ants like any normal kid. Asta is completely baffled. Back before the regression, during his days as a mercenary troubleshooter, Asta and his team received orders from the Declan family to investigate the Blandor estate. Word was that the Blandors were desperate for help dealing with a monster on their grounds. On their way to the estate, the crew expected to find an ogre or some other common beast. But they arrived to find a scene of absolute, bloody carnage. There stood Damien, ripping people apart like they were made of paper. He was spamming healing magic while laughing like a total maniac in the middle of the slaughter. That horrific day earned him a terrifying nickname, the Monster of Blandor. An immortal butcher who simply refuses to stay dead, no matter what you do. Asta shakes off those dark memories to focus on the kid currently in front of him. He can't help but wonder why a high-ranking Blandor heir is hanging out here. As the sole heir to such a massive house, his presence in the gray zone is bizarre. But get this, Damien makes a weirdly wholesome suggestion. He tells Asta they need to grab some food. He claims his mother always said eating keeps you healthy, blaming Asta's physical weakness on a lack of meals. Honestly, Asta has to admit the little guy actually has a point. Then Asta asks the million-dollar question, does the kid have any cash? Damien nods and pulls out a heavy pouch overflowing with shiny gold coins. Asta's eyes practically turn into dollar signs as he immediately declares them the best of friends. The kid is stunned by the sudden bond, but Asta knows exactly how to work him. He smoothly explains that real friends always share everything they have with each other. Naturally, little Damien falls for the trap and agrees with Asta's logic. Asta suggests they go find a decent meal, and the boy happily agrees. Once they finish their meal, they head back to a nearby shelter. For the first time ever, Asta actually feels full and satisfied. Damien mentions how surprised he is to find a roof over their heads tonight. He reveals he'd been sleeping outside, and then casually mentions he doesn't have a father. Asta tries to correct him, but the kid stubbornly refuses to believe his father exists. When Asta asks about his mother, the boy gives the same heartbreaking answer. To him, if they aren't right there with him, they basically don't exist at all. The reality of the situation finally clicks, and Asta tries to process the kid's loneliness. Asta asks exactly how long he has been on his own. Damien reveals he slept 10 times since leaving home. Hearing about those 10 sleeps makes Asta wonder if someone is actually hunting the boy down. At first, Asta assumes the kid has been gone for 10 full days. But then Damien mentions naps. Apparently, he takes them twice a day sometimes. It turns out 10 is just the total count of every single nap he's taken. Asta calculates that the kid has probably only been away for 3 or 4 days total. Watching him act like a normal child, Asta realizes even the worst monsters were once innocent. Since Damien is out here all alone, Asta decides to play nanny, and honestly, building a connection with the Blandor house is a genius move. This alliance will be a massive help when he finally goes to war with the Declans. But still, Asta is still fuming about the guy who hit him 57 times. Before turning in, Asta warns the kid not to bother him. He has got work to do. Damon immediately realizes that Asta is ready to master his breathing. It seems that in Asta's past life, his magic foundation was strictly amateur hour, which was why he used to risk everything sneaking into noble houses to steal spells. He managed to snag top-tier skills, like the hardened body technique used by knights. He grabbed plenty of other techniques too. But it was a near-death brush that finally showed him what true power looks like. This time, he is aiming way higher, specifically targeting Declan's elite foundational art, the Heavenly Origin technique. An elite art that allows the user to master every single attribute of mana. He only knew it from research, but now he can finally put it to use. It is called the breathing technique, and the second he activates it, a massive wave of power surges through him like he is being scorched by lava. The agony is insane, but Esta is absolutely determined to endure the process. Impurities start burning right out of his body. This technique is high noble exclusive, forcing mana through his body to scorch away every single impurity in his circuits. Esta dives deep into the process, submerged in what feels like a pure mana pool. By the time he wakes up from the pain, Damien has already drifted off. He is shocked to find that not a single impurity is left in his circuits. But that's not all. His mana is purified, even purer than his past life, though he knows defeating Declan is still a massive mountain to climb. But his odds improved. He is a troubleshooter, and if there is one thing he knows, it is never giving up. Later, Esta helps Damon change his hair color to a simple brown. New clothes and a cap finish the look, keeping his identity a total secret from the world. Damon asks what the next plan is, and Esta responds immediately. They are heading out right now to cause some serious chaos. Esta finds the guy who hit him 57 times. The guy sees him and starts barking questions. But before he can talk more trash, Esta is ready to move. He takes a brutal punch to the gut. Agony floods his system, and the dude passes out instantly. Esta is pretty proud that he managed to land that hit so perfectly. However, he is far from done. He has got 123 hits coming. Naturally, the rest of the house notices the commotion. They all run outside just to see their youngest son starting a total rampage. Deep down, Esta is already picturing the wild things he is about to do to every single one of them. He channels mana into his fists to make every single strike hurt 10 times more. Damien is just standing back, watching the fury unfold and enjoying every single second of the show. He makes things worse by healing the bunch so Esta can keep beating them for a long time. Naturally, he starts by healing the main dude Esta has a major beef with. The guy thinks he is being saved, until Esta grabs him by the collar. He reminds him exactly how many hits are left before this beating is over. Once his fists get tired, Esta decides to switch it up. He grabs a cane and starts swinging. He flogs the guy so hard his butt is literally smoking, but Esta is still not finished. He actually calls Damien over to heal the guy, just so he can start the beating all over again. To this victim, these aren't just kids, they're a pack of devilish maniacs coming for his life. After Esta finally has his fill of the beatdown, he decides to call it a day. To make things even better, he actually thanks the victims for their help, using them as literal punching bags. Yeah, he's feeling pretty good about himself right now. He logged over 100 hits per person, which adds up to over 1,000 total. He's feeling proud. The leader of the victims nervously asks if they can finally go, and Esta just shrugs. The guy then reminds Esta that they're at his house, basically telling Esta that he's the one who needs to leave. Esta gets the hint. He stares them down with such a terrifying aura that the group immediately retreats into a corner in fear. Right then, Esta senses someone else. Someone powerful is quickly approaching them. He can tell this person is highly skilled, likely a professional troubleshooter. It hits him. This new arrival isn't here for him, they're after Damien. Esta is shocked. He thought he was being careful, yet they still managed to track them down. He knows he's in a bad spot right now. But he's not just going to wait to be attacked. Back in his past life, he was a troubleshooter too. He's faced impossible situations before, and this is just another day at the office. He gathers every drop of mana he has and begins compressing it tightly. He forms a lethal mana bullet and aims it directly at the person charging toward their position. He takes the shot, but the target suddenly drops into a low knee slide. He dodges the blast and screams out Damien's name, calling him master. The man slides right up to Damien, and it's clear the boy knows exactly who he is. Turns out, this is Alfredo, the butler for Damien's prestigious family. He grabs Damien tight, but the kid tells him to back off. Alfredo refuses, insisting the boy must return home immediately. Esta just stands there, confused. Watching this weird family drama unfold, it finally clicks. Damien is actually a runaway. Once the introductions are finally over, Alfredo invites Esta back to the estate, mainly because Damien seems to have taken a liking to him. Esta takes a moment to think. He knows they're powerful, but he can't quite tell what they're really after. Their true intentions, still a total mystery. Regardless, he wanted to make some powerful connections anyway. Since their territory is right on the way to the city, this is actually perfect. The Zenon Academy is also nearby, and their library is supposed to be one of the best. Esta wants to check it out while planning his own future library. After weighing his options, Esta agrees to go. Before long, they finally reach the massive estate. Stepping out of the carriage, Esta realizes this is his very first official visit to such a place. It's already late, so Alfredo suggests that everyone gets some rest for the night. He calls over a maid named Lancency to look after the kids. She glares at Damien with icy eyes, and the kid immediately knows he's in deep trouble. Later that night, Alfredo heads to see the family matron, a woman named Gamo. He informs her that Damien was found in the gray zone and has been brought back safely. Gamo is famously impulsive and blasts an attack spell in rage before she realizes her son is actually perfectly fine. She lets out a huge sigh of relief, and Alfredo follows suit. He knew better than anyone that if something happened to Damien, everyone was as good as dead. So you and I are learning that Gamma was once the Blood Witch. Gamo then commends Alfredo for his incredible hard work. Before Alfredo leaves, he mentions that there is one more thing. He tells Gamo about Esta, Damon's new friend. The kid sensed him before he appeared and already prepared a counterattack. Alfredo reveals that Esta was wielding a mana bullet during their face-off. Gamma is definitely impressed hearing that news. She admits that is some incredible talent for a gray zone resident. Because of this, Alfredo asks the matron for a very special favor. Next day, Esta wakes up to request, become Alfredo's official successor. Esta is shocked, and Alfredo is relieved he finally caught him off guard. He is certain Esta will jump at this rare and elite opportunity. But then, Alfredo is stunned when Esta flat-out refuses. He honestly believes his hearing has failed him in this intense moment. Even Damien is shocked to see Esta reject this. Esta admits it is a huge deal, but he prefers his life as is. Alfredo realizes Esta is a self-taught natural from the rough gray zone. That is why he is so full of himself. Alfredo decides to crush the boy's arrogant confidence. He tells him the world is massive and filled with terrifying, unknown dangers. He compares Esta to a tiny canyon goblin, but Esta claims wyvern status. Now, you and I are about to see Alfredo's countermove. Alfredo then takes Esta to the butler training house to witness a live session. He is proud to show off such a grand and disciplined spectacle. These kids are his age and the recognized elites of House Blandor. Esta watches their precise training. They certainly do not act like kids. However, he is still not impressed. He can sense their auras surprising Alfredo. He asks one more time if he is ready to accept his proposal and shine like the elite students before them. But Esta refuses again, claiming he actually hates the bright light. Just then, a trainee named Winster raises his hand to speak up. Winster suggests that Esta only refused because he has zero actual talent. Besides that, he thinks Esta is too ignorant to grasp how great they are. He demands a duel. Alfredo senses his cockiness but allows the fight. He asks Esta if he is game for it. Esta gets it. These trainees already view him as their primary rival. They probably see him as some lucky nobody. Someone who just showed up and got offered the chief butler's position. Esta accepts, but asks if he can choose his own specific opponents. Alfredo tells him to go ahead. Esta points to Winster, then 4 other trainees standing right beside him. Get this, Esta is actually demanding a 5-on-1 match. Winster is literally speechless. You and I can see Esta telling him to back out if he is scared. Alfredo starts laughing. He sees it now, that spark that drive a real successor actually needs. Alfredo asks if he is ready to back up those big words, and Esta does not blink before saying yes. Here is the deal. Last 1 minute in the ring, and Alfredo will give him a special gift. But if he fails, then he has no choice. He is officially becoming Alfredo's successor. Esta can hear the desperation in the old man's voice, but he is totally down for the challenge. Agreement made, Alfredo tells them both to get into the ring. The instructor is sweating, asking Alfredo if this whole thing is getting way too dangerous. Alfredo admits it is risky, but he wants to teach Estelle a lesson about being so arrogant. The instructor is terrified. He does not want anything bad happening to Damon's personal guest. He runs over to Damon, desperately telling him his friend is in some serious trouble. He wants Damon to stop this madness, but surprisingly, Damon is actually hyped for the show. He even wants to jump in, but Lance warns him that GMA will lose it if he interferes. Alfredo snaps at the instructor to just start the match already and quit wasting everyone's time. The instructor gives up. He tried his best to stop it, but now his hands are tied. Lance catches the vibe and decides it is time to leave the room. Right before leaving, she tells Damon to stay out of it. Damon just smiles and promises he will behave. The instructor steps up to the kids to lay down the ground rules. It is a free-for-all. Now, you and I know these matches only end when one side finally surrenders. But he adds one thing: he can step in and kill the match whenever he wants. Winster is glaring at Estelle with pure hatred, ready to crush him and prove he is a total fraud. The instructor signals the start. And Estelle moves instantly, landing a heavy mana-boosted punch straight into Winster's stomach. Winster flies back in agony, coughing up a mouthful of liquid. Before anyone can even process it, Estelle has already wiped out the rest of the trainees. They are all on the floor groaning in pain. Winster is the only one still on his feet. Estelle stares him down like a total villain. And he tells Winster he is about to give him an experience he will never forget. While he says this, he is casually rolling mana bullets between his fingers. Lesson 1 is simple: never make the mistake of underestimating the little guy. Winster is literally shaking. He cannot believe Estelle is just playing with mana bullets like toys. Winster knows exactly what it takes to conjure a mana bullet like that. Estelle continues the lesson. Number 2 is simple: stop judging people before you know them. He lets them fly, peppering Winster and his buddies with a barrage of mana bullets. They all scream in pure agony as the bullets tear through them. For lesson number 3, Estelle tells Winster that the world is vast and incredibly bitter. Estelle closes the distance and finishes Winster off with one final, heavy punch. Estelle just smiles at the fallen trainees, promising to personally teach them everything he just said. Winster screams through the pain, calling Estelle a total lunatic. He yells that Estelle is not even using magic, but Estelle just laughs it off. He kicks Winster right in the head, explaining that this is what he calls physical magic. Everyone is stunned. We just watched Estelle dismantle those trainees like they were absolutely nothing. He is literally dragging them around now like they are his personal puppets. Alfredo is absolutely stunned. That magic bullet from Estelle was something else. Just how many times was that magic compressed? Judging by that sheer power, they had to be packed 4 or 5 times over. Then it hits him. If he had taken that head-on, it would have been game over. It is clear, Estelle has absolute command over his innate mana. Plus, the kid is actually terrifyingly good at beating people up. Way in the back, Damien is busy healing everyone up, just so Estelle can keep the beatdown going. Suddenly, Lance enters the room along with Gamo. She summons Alfredo. Seeing the matron, the instructor knows he is finally safe. He sighs in relief. Finally, they are saved. Gamo asks what is happening. Alfredo claims it is just a test. Gamo is not buying it. Estelle is literally trashing everyone while Damien plays support. Gamo orders Alfredo to gather the trainees and withdraw. And then, she sends the boys away before turning to the instructor with a shocker: he is fired. Later that night, Gamo tells Alfredo that despite his intentions, he went way too far. Alfredo admits the mistake, ready for his punishment. Gamo asks if Damien assisted during the fight. Alfredo says no, Estelle is just that good. Estelle used the magic bullet again. But he compressed it multiple times. Gamo realizes the kid's mana control is top tier. Even though Gamo missed the start, she saw him wrecking 5 trainees like it was nothing. Controlling a magic bullet is a nightmare, even for elite mages. Then she asks about the successor proposal. Estelle rejected the offer instantly. Time for a reevaluation. She tells Alfredo to bring Estelle to her. Estelle meets with Gamo. Damien is there too, munching on cookies like a spoiled brat. She places a box on the table for Estelle. Gamo reminds him that Alfredo promised him a gift. He is shocked that Gamo is the one giving it. He opens it and finds a high-grade item. Even within the powerful Blander family, only the elite top 5 mage divisions receive these. Estelle suspects there is a catch to this. Reading his mind, she says take the gift. It is thanks for saving her son and an apology for today's mess. Estelle asks if he will be forced into the family if he consumes this. She says no. Still no, she says. He cannot believe it, no conditions attached. Estelle thanks the lady. That is when Gamo drops a proposal, and let us be real, you and I knew he was right. Her plan? Get Estelle into the academy so he can attend alongside Damien and watch over him. Estelle is totally lost, and Gamma explains that Damien was supposed to enroll an entire year ago. But he refused to go, which pushed everything back until now. Still, Gamma never expected her son to actually run away from home like that. She can tell Damien actually likes Estelle, which is why she is asking him for help. Estelle realizes she is doing this to keep Damien in school, knowing that forcing him would only make him vanish again. For Estelle, though, this looks like a massive and rare opportunity. The connections he could make at the academy would be huge, so it is not a bad idea. It is a solid move. But at the same time, it feels like putting on a leash. So, he tells the lady that he is going to need some time to think. Gamma is fine with that, letting him know she will be waiting for his final answer. Before he goes, she asks why he turned down the chance to be Alfredo's successor. Sensing Alfredo is eavesdropping, Estelle decides to crush his ego, saying he just really values his precious niece. Basically, he is just not the type to bow to people. That is a direct hit to the butler hiding just on the other side of the door. Once Estelle gets back to his room, he uses the item and is impressed by the changes. Just 10% absorption and his mana is already surging. His body is even transforming into that of a flameborn. What is even better, absorbing this stuff leaves absolutely zero impurities behind in his system. As for the academy, his mind is already made up. He has an answer. Enrolling would be the fastest way to track down a powerful sponsor. There are way too many perks to pass up. But he still feels like he is walking straight into a trap. Estelle heads out for a run. He steps out, but immediately hears a voice calling his name. Estelle turns to see who it is. He checks out the stranger, noting that platinum blonde hair. Since Damien is highborn, Estelle figures this guy has to be some kind of relative. Thinking fast, he lies and tells the guy he is definitely not the Estelle he wants. The guy is stunned, because the person in front of him looks exactly like the description he had. Estelle doubles down, claiming his hair color actually shifts depending on the light hitting it, suggesting that appearances can be pretty deceiving. The dude actually buys it, turning to leave while apologizing for the awkward little mistake. But then, Alfredo ruins everything by rushing over and shouting Estelle's name. He is back to push that whole butler job again. But by calling out to him, he just blew Estelle's cover right in front of the stranger. The blonde guy spins around, realizing he was right because of Estelle's unpleasant face. There is no hiding it now, so Estelle admits he is the guy he was looking for. This makes the stranger absolutely furious, though he decides to back off once he notices Alfredo is watching. Still, he tells Estelle to meet him at the mage hall later for a proper beating and manners lesson. Once the guy clears out, Alfredo asks if something is wrong, but Estelle says no, still deep down. Estelle needs a punching bag for all that pent-up rage, and that guy looks like the perfect target. Later on, he is heading straight to the mage hall to hand out a massive beatdown. Before that, though, he asks Alfredo for an immediate meeting with Gamo herself. Cut to Gamo's office. She is honestly stunned that he is looking for her this early in the morning. She wants to know if he has finally made his choice, and his answer, a firm yes. Surprisingly, He tells her he is officially joining the academy, exactly like they originally offered him. Gamo is caught off guard, but honestly, you can see the pure relief on her face. Gamo promises to get everything ready immediately. Esta heads out, and right then, Alfredo walks right into the room. He is dying to know Esta's answer, and Gamo confirms it. The kid actually accepted. Alfredo is absolutely thrilled, celebrating this win like he just hit the jackpot. Turns out, they have already got the first semester's tuition fully covered for him. But come next semester, Esta is going to find paying that tuition nearly impossible. Alfredo bets Esta's hunger for knowledge will only make him more desperate to stay. Alfredo is waiting to swoop in and play the hero, but Gamo has to tell him he is being way too loud right now. He offers a quick apology before dashing to the kitchen. Breakfast isn't going to make itself. Once he is gone, Gamo finally realizes exactly why Alfredo is acting so overjoyed. He sees a golden chance to make Esta his successor. Gamo, however, she thinks the entire plan is a total mess. However, Alfredo is confident because, well, the previous head butler pulled that exact same trick on him. Now, Esta heads to the mage hall, tracking down that jerk who challenged him earlier. He swings the door open and finds a mysterious hooded mage asking what he really wants. Realizing he doesn't even know that brat's name, Esta starts to stutter like an idiot. Suddenly, the mage brightens up, telling Esta he has been waiting for him this whole time. He tells Esta to follow him and leads the way into a different room. He urges him in, but says watch your head. As soon as Esta steps in, he is bombarded by a storm of flying notes. Right then, he finally understands why that warning was actually pretty important. He meets a guy who introduces himself as Wenji von Blondor. He asks if Esta is looking for his little brother. Esta is just completely lost. He starts wondering if that loud-mouthed brat from earlier is actually this guy's brother. See, there's one thing Esta remembers clearly about mages from his past life. They all seem to share one specific trait. First, their hair gets messy, then they pull it out until it just stops growing entirely for good. Basically, Esta's broken it into 3 distinct stages. Stage 1 is denial. Mages just hide the thinning spots under their heavy robes. Stage 2, that is when they give up and let the baldness show. Finally, stage 3 is total acceptance. They just shave it all off and embrace it. But there is a 4th stage. That's when they research magic to make the impossible possible. They try using spells for hair growth, but spoiler alert, absolutely nobody has ever actually succeeded with this. However, none of those stages seem to apply to Wenji, standing right there. Before they get to business, Wenji offers a sincere apology for his brother's trashy behavior. Esta asks if he actually works at the academy. WJI drops a bombshell, revealing he is currently serving as the vice dean. He pours Esta a drink. Esta is genuinely impressed that someone like WJI reached vice dean status already. He is absolutely certain that WJI is incredibly talented. You don't get that rank just by having a famous family name. WJI smirks, telling Esta he is quite a unique character. WJI then reveals he knows Esta was scouted for Zenian Academy, which is a massive achievement for anyone in this entire world. He offers his congratulations, calling it a prime chance for Esta to truly grow. WJI mentions he graduated from the same academy, specifically as a member of the 145th class. Esta is totally unimpressed since he never actually asked for all these personal details. The guy is just blurting out now. WJI catches the vibe and apologizes, saying he just got excited and started talking total nonsense. WJI suggests they finally get down to the real business. But first, he tells Esta there is just one crucial thing he needs to confirm right now. He asks Esta directly if he would be willing to risk his life for a friend. Esta is left completely baffled by that question. WJI explains that this whole situation involves the reputation of the Blondor family. He reaches into his storage and pulls out a book. Esta is visibly stunned when he sees it. WJI says he will hand over the tome, but only if Esta is truly ready to die. That book holds the ultimate secret of the Blonder family, known as the Healing Light. Meanwhile, Gamma is out in her garden, thinking about Damien finally heading off to the academy. She is just relieved that everything was settled without any issues. She also considers Estat to be a truly loyal friend to Damien. She knows Estat has a good heart, despite Alfredo claiming he can be a jerk sometimes. Gamma is not worried though, since every kid has a bit of a shameless side. She is mostly happy that Estat's attitude never changed, even after learning about Damien's true background. Gamma knows that people like Estat are built differently, which is why she wants him by Damien's side forever. But Gamma knows one bitter truth. She knows Estat is like a wild bird who refuses to let anyone cage him in. Still, she plans to find any way possible to keep Estat close to them. For the sake of her son, Damien, she will do everything in her power to keep him near. Back in the Mage Hall, Estat wonders why WJI is offering him such a sacred family technique. He tries to analyze the situation, carefully checking to see if this is just a trap. Meanwhile, WJI is trying to read Estat's emotions, but he gets nothing because Estat is completely stone-faced. He compares the kid to someone wearing a mask, whose true identity is impossible to uncover. WJI warns Estat to think his answer through carefully and not to let the reward in front of him blind his judgment. Estat then tells WJI that he is ready to give his final answer. Estat basically says if the request is doable, he will do it. If not, then he simply won't bother. WJI then warns him that simply hearing this proposal could put his entire life at risk. Not only that, if Estat refuses after hearing the details, WJI says he might just have to kill him, without a hint of fear. Estat tells WJI to go ahead, since everyone is only destined to live a single time anyway. Even though, this is actually Estat's second chance at life. Hearing this, WJI unleashes a terrifying aura to intimidate the kid, but Estat remains completely unshaken. When WJI realizes that this dude doesn't scare easily at all. Alright, you and I are seeing Estat officially pass this test. He needs someone trustworthy, and importantly, it must be someone from outside his own family circle. WJI talks in circles for a moment before finally revealing his real motives. He clarifies that this situation is far more than just a simple family power struggle. Despite appearances of closeness, he reveals that the Declan family is actually keeping him under tight surveillance. Estat is shocked. He immediately asks WJI why on earth the Declan family would be spying on him, since Estat already claimed he has nothing left to lose. WJI reveals his massive dilemma. He is researching the Declan family origins magic, and he might have just hit a major breakthrough. Somehow, he managed to obtain the family heavenly origins magic, an art exclusive to them. Hearing this, Estat immediately starts to feel very concerned. He realizes he is basically sitting across from a dead man walking. Estat asks if he is trying to find a way to destroy it. That is when WJI drops a bombshell. He found a way to perfect their secret art instead. Estat listens and reaches one conclusion. He is dealing with a complete madman who has absolutely zero regard for his own safety. WJI simply claims that the scientific urge to finish the research was just too strong to resist. Estat sees WJI as a total lunatic. But the timing is suspicious. In his past life, we saw that things played out very differently. Back then, when Declan destroyed the Blandor family, WJI was obsessed with his 10,000 circle research. This explains why Declan wiped them all out. He saw the terrifying potential of the 10,000 circle and wanted that power for himself at any cost. Estat realizes Declan might have stolen this power, which explains his insane strength in the future. WJI looks at Estat and asks, is he willing to help take this dangerous research to the next level? Estat wonders why he was chosen for such a risky mission. WJI reveals that reporting the research to his family is impossible because there is definitely a mole hidden among them. Estat suggests it could be the secretary. WJI disagrees, thinking the leak is more likely tied to how he acquired the information in the first place. He reveals that the moment he knew he was compromised, he began taking defensive measures. Ista asks him one simple question. Why not just join Declan? They would definitely welcome a genius with open arms, right? WJI makes it clear that he has very personal reasons for avoiding them. Since Ista has no ties to the Blonder family, WJI sees him as the only person who can help. It is a joint project, but currently he can't make any progress. WJI promises a massive reward if Ista delivers his thesis to Professor Perun at Xenon Academy. In exchange, he offers the legendary healing light spell. Ista sees a golden opportunity and decides to take it. But first, he tells WJI he has a better deal. Ista demands the healing light spell as payment now, along with the 1,000 circle once the research is fully complete. Ista is going for a double or nothing play. Hearing this, WJI calls Ista a truly shameless jerk. With the mission being so critical, WJI has no choice but to agree. He promises the spell once he finishes the work. However, WJI has one final condition for him. WJI wants Ista's help before he wraps this whole thing up. Naturally, our main character is totally down for the task. Grabbing the thesis from WJI. Ista jokes that the guy can't even read. But he quickly pivots, letting WJI know he's just playing around. Then, Ista asks if this Professor Perun is actually trustworthy. WJI explains they were old academy rivals who always bumped heads. They were constantly trying to outshine each other. But the heat died down once WJI went home. Ista can't believe he's about to deal with another academy lunatic just like him. Back in his room, Ista finds a stack of books and a personal letter. The letter explains exactly which books to study first, so Ista can effectively level up his knowledge and cultivation. No time wasted. As Ista starts organizing the books, he has to admit that WJI is a total genius. Ista starts writing down his list of book sponsors, and naturally, WJI is right at the top. Ista's big plan is to put the Healing Light book inside his tower once it's finally built. That'll give everyone a chance to read it, though he knows he'll have to chat with Damien about the details. He'll just use that good old friend's privilege. Ista is already feeling proud of his goal to help ordinary people finally learn the ways of magic. He considers this meeting with WJI to be a truly crucial turning point. On the flip side, WJI is thrilled he met Ista, since the guy seems like a seriously useful interest. He's mostly impressed that Ista didn't fear death. It was just a bluff. The fact that Ista didn't show even a flicker of fear made him way more interested. WJI can see it clearly. Ista has the eyes of someone who truly does not fear death. WJI is just glad to find someone actually useful, instead of the lazy pigs he usually has to deal with. He senses Ista's hiding things, but he thinks that's actually a good sign. He basically sees Ista as someone who shares the exact same dream that he does. Soon, academy prep begins. After packing and suiting up in his uniform, Lance arrives at the room to pick him up. She explains that there is just some simple paperwork to handle once they actually reach the academy. Then Lance drops the news. He and Damien are completely exempt from the entrance exam. Lance mentions the uniform looks great on him. Ista plays it cool, thanking her like a true gentleman. Ah, the perks of being a prestigious family. Special admission, Ista is definitely not complaining about that. At the carriage, Ista sees Damien and his mother already waiting for him. She tells the boys to stay safe, and Ista nods. Gamo also lets Ista know that she is praying for him to achieve every single goal he has set. Ista gives a warm, grateful smile. Deep down, Ista is determined to succeed because the academy is a gold mine of opportunities, and he's going to grab every single one. Plus, he is really looking forward to meeting his future classmates. En route, Ista cracks open that light spell book. He is seriously impressed by how simple the book makes every interpretation feel. Every noble has their own secret way of interpreting these techniques. But compared to other versions, Ista feels WJ's interpretation fits Declan's celestial principle perfectly. They finally pull up to the academy, Look at a stag gazing out at legendary Zenon Academy. Lancensy announces that this is where their carriage service officially ends. Principal's orders. No matter your rank, every student must enter the academy grounds on their own 2 feet. Lancensy says her goodbyes here. She wishes the kids luck as they start their lives at this prestigious academy. Stepping out of the carriage, Damon grabs Asta and insists they sprint to the entrance for the opening ceremony. Lancensy warned him that if they're late, there won't be a single seat left for them anywhere. Asta finds that hard to believe. This is a top-tier ceremony, not some village theater with limited seating. Just then, he remembers exactly who gave Damon that piece of info. It was obviously bait. Lancensy just wanted to make sure Damon didn't waste any time getting there. Asta decides to just go with it. Sometimes playing along is the easiest path. They reach the massive hall, and trust me, Damon is instantly overwhelmed by the sea of people. Even though half the room is empty, Damon is still fully convinced that they barely made it in time to secure a spot. Asta can't believe how naive he is. He's totally oblivious to the fact he was played. Asta pulls out their reservations to see where they're actually supposed to be sitting. Damon points at a random spot and suggests sitting there, leaving Asta totally confused. He just can't understand how Damon is this excited now, considering he was trying his best to run away before. Suddenly, Damon slams right into another student, a massive, towering guy named Exter. This giant looks down at Damon with pure disgust, like he just stepped on a bug. Asta pulls his friend up and checks to see if he's actually okay. Damon insists he's fine. He blames his own clumsiness, saying he wasn't paying enough attention to his surroundings. The two try to walk away, but Exter stops them. Apparently, Damon accidentally got some spit on the guy's expensive clothes. While Asta processes the situation, Damon rushes back to help clean the mess, only to add even more saliva. This pushes Exter over the edge. He snaps and throws a heavy punch at Damon's face. However, Asta catches the fist effortlessly. He tells the guy to stop before he makes a mistake he'll truly regret. Exter demands to know who he is. Damon proudly answers that it's his friend. Asta nods in agreement. Now Exter finally understands why this stranger is sticking his neck out for a loser. Still, Exter warns Asta that he's about to regret getting involved in this. Asta sees exactly where this is heading. Honestly, he's not even worried about it. It's clear that Exter wants to settle this with force, rather than using his brain. The tension in the air quickly draws a crowd of curious students from everywhere. Word spreads fast. Exter is a direct descendant of the powerful Dalampi family. The onlookers aren't helping. They're already placing bets on who's going to walk away standing. Most are putting their money on Exter, but on the other side of the room, someone actually tries to de-escalate the situation before things spiral out of control between the three. He points out that they can't have a real fight in this crowded room. But another student immediately throws up a magical barrier. Now, we're about to see them go all out. The students are going absolutely wild for Exter. They are screaming his name, begging him to win. Meanwhile, a mysterious student watches from the distance, wearing a smirk like he is the only one who knows the chaos about to happen. Inside the barrier, Exter puffs his chest, introducing himself and demanding Asta do the same. Asta just shrugs, saying he was not born a fancy noble. He would rather Exter just think of him as some random nobody passing through. Exter scoffs and tells Asta he will give him the first strike since he is a mage. Asta just bursts out laughing, teasing and taunting the guy. That is enough to make Exter snap and charge forward like a complete lunatic. Asta calmly reminds the dude that he is actually fighting two people. He sidesteps the punch easily before slamming a fist into Exter's face, sending him flying backward. Exter is in shock. How could a simple academy student hit with that kind of earth-shattering weight? He is actually starting to doubt if Asta is even a magician. Suddenly, he realizes that Damien is actually casting healing magic. He is confused why the enemy is healing him, but little does he know, his nightmare is only just beginning. While he is distracted, Asta closes the gap and drives a heavy punch into his gut. Before he can react, a flurry of brutal blows lands everywhere. Then it clicks. One beats him to a pulp while the other heals him just to keep the loop going. He is forced to admit he is dealing with a couple of absolute psychos. For the first time, Exter feels pure fear. But the audience will not let him quit, cheering him on. They shout for him to give it everything. He is their champion. Hearing them, Exter finally manages to pull himself together. He roars, calling Estat a puny mage before swinging wildly, but Estat just dances out of the way effortlessly. Nice try, Estat tells him. Exter screams for him to shut up, putting everything into a right hook that finally catches Estat. Estat is sent tumbling back as the crowd erupts, because Exter is finally landing hits. But Exter does not feel like celebrating. He knows the punch connected, but it felt weirdly light, like hitting air. Estat simply flips in midair and sticks the landing perfectly. Exter is stunned, but he pushes his confusion down and charges once more. Estat glances back, seeing that Damien is still keeping Exter healed up. At this rate, taking him down for good is going to be tough. He needs to end this with one final, decisive blow. Estat taps into a secret technique he and his comrades perfected in his previous life. He begins drawing massive energy from the friction of magical particles. It uses magic as fuel, but it is not a spell or martial arts. It is pure, technical application, once Estat has the move ready to blow. He waits for Exter to get close before unleashing the attack point-blank. A massive shockwave erupts, blinding the spectators and even shattering the protective barrier into pieces. Everyone is left speechless by the sheer power Estat showed. Suddenly, Exter's body hits the dirt and he passes out. The silence is deafening. Nobody can believe the mighty Exter just got one-shotted by a single punch. Estat stands tall like a true champion, and after a moment of pure shock, the whole stadium starts chanting his name loudly. Everyone. They start questioning if Estat's actually a magician after seeing how easily he handled the fight. Damon's hyped over the win, and Estat just gives him a little pat on the head. That mysterious guy from before watches from a distance, a smirk playing across his face as he stares at Estat. But the fun's over when a teacher shows up to shut the whole scene down and calm things. He's in total shock, students brawling on their very first day. That's definitely a new record for this school. He demands to know who started it, but nobody's talking because the crowd enjoyed the show way too much. On the other hand, Estat's already plotting a quick exit from the area. But Damon goes full psycho and ruins the entire escape plan. He shouts to grab the teacher's attention, basically announcing that he and Estat were the ones who caused the trouble. Estat just closes his eyes in pure defeat as the teacher marches right toward them. Meanwhile, that giant Exter is still out cold on the floor. The boys get dragged to the teacher's office for a serious scolding about their little duel. Luckily, the teacher lets them slide because Damon confessed to the fight without making things difficult. Plus, Exter's injuries aren't too bad after a quick medical check. They head back to the hall, thankful that the main ceremony hasn't even started yet. As they walk inside, every single eye in the room is fixed on them. No one can believe Estat took down a martial artist while looking that frail and weak. While Estat tries to stay low-key, Damon's over here waving at the crowd like he's some kind of celebrity. Estat's dying inside. He really didn't want this much unwanted attention so early on. And he seriously wishes Damien would stop waving his hands like a fool as they finally locate their assigned seats. Not long after, the headmaster, a short, white-haired old man, takes the main stage. Minutes later, the headmaster is still giving his speech without showing a single sign of weakness, and this actually leaves Estat feeling pretty impressed. Damon, though, he's fast asleep and literally drooling all over the place. Estat has to pull the guy up before he floods the entire row with his saliva. The headmaster is just getting deep into his speech when someone rushes over to tell him something important. Apparently, he's needed elsewhere right away. He tries ignoring it. But once he hears the news, he's forced to cut it short and hand the microphone over to a brand new speaker. A bright-haired lady steps up, and her first scream literally sends shivers down every single student's spine. Even Damien, who is dead to the world, bolts upright from that thunderous voice. The lady introduces herself as Jara, letting everyone know she'll be the one to continue the ceremony from where the headmaster stopped. Jara wants to jump straight into the freshman oath. The first name called is the Magic Division's representative, Dahlia Denai. Wait. The students are floored. They never expected someone from the famous Denai family to actually take this entrance exam. Some whisper that maybe her skills just aren't talented enough, which is why she's here, while others quickly jump to her defense. They insist there's no way her skills are lacking, because her powerful family would never have allowed her to take the exam otherwise. But Asta, he knows exactly who Dahlia really is. You see, the Denai house is known as the second most powerful family after the Declans. Let's watch as Dahlia grows up to become the top mage, representing the second-ranked Denai family. Asta admits she's genuinely talented, especially since she's helped him out before. But they're always at each other's throats, earning them a reputation as bad friends. Asta just smiles, clearly happy that Dahlia ended up in this class with him. As Dahlia takes the stage, Asta recalls Paul, the top representative for the martial arts division. Since no family name was called, Asta figures this guy isn't a noble. He probably doesn't come from any prestigious background or elite household either. After finishing their oaths, the two students start heading back to their seats. Now it's time to introduce the professors who will be teaching the class. She calls for the professors to step forward one after another, while Dahlia makes her way down the steps. She looks directly toward Asta, leaving him stunned because it feels like she's staring right at him. Suddenly, Dahlia slips, losing her balance and tumbling right down the stairs. Talk about embarrassing. Right then, Professor Perun arrives to teach the basics of magic. Asta notices he's different from the usual instructors, but he'll wait before making a final judgment. Ceremony's over. The students are told to head straight to their newly assigned dorm rooms. Damon finally wakes up, so Asta pranks him, saying he's been expelled for napping. Hearing that, Damon starts screaming at the top of his lungs, completely panicked. Asta actually regrets it. He didn't expect that reaction, so he's feeling a bit guilty while walking to his room. Asta finally reaches his dorm, and he's seriously impressed by how nice the place looks. The room even has a corner, stocked with supplies to make student life a lot easier. Just as he's unpacking, get this, his new roommate Paul suddenly walks through the door. Asta's surprised by Paul's cold vibe. It's like the guy doesn't care about anything at all. Then Paul speaks up. He warns Asta that they should keep it quiet because he's not here to make friends. Paul makes it clear. He doesn't care what Asta does as long as it doesn't get in his way. Honestly, he'd prefer if they just stopped talking to each other after these introductions. But Asta isn't the type to back down from anyone. He gets right in Paul's face for an intense stare-down. Asta stays silent, which clearly ticks Paul off until he demands some kind of answer. Asta wonders how skilled Paul really is, considering he entered the school as the top student. To test him, Asta makes a sudden fake charge just to see how he reacts. Paul's hand flies to his sword instantly. Asta can see right away that his combat stance is solid. His sword placement shows he's a real pro. Suddenly, Asta hears Damon shouting from outside. Asta just smiles, acting like he didn't just provoke a fight. He tells Paul to do whatever he wants, since they're both just minding their own business. Then he teases Paul, saying he might just start singing after midnight. After riling Paul up and leaving him totally baffled, Asta walks out of the room. He meets up with Damon, who's dying to know who Asta's roommate turned out to be. Asta says he doesn't know, which leaves Damon completely shocked. Damon drops the subject and suggests they explore the academy since there is so much to see. He is determined to scout out every single corner on their very first day. Apparently, the academy grounds are massive. Students are told to memorize the layout fast to avoid getting lost during their stay in this labyrinth. It sounds stressful, but as you can imagine, Asta is totally up for the challenge. He wants to know exactly how many troubleshooters have infiltrated the school. With that, the duo begins parading through the academy grounds together. They find a beautiful lake, and Damon starts overreacting with his usual dramatic flair. Staff finally realizes why Lance was always annoyed. Damon acts like a literal infant. Fed up with the whining, Asta tells Damon to just have his family build him a private lake. All it takes is digging a hole and pouring in some water. Surprisingly, Damon is completely hooked on that idea. He excitedly shouts that he will make his family build one even bigger than this one. He even decides on a name: Blood, Sweat, and Tears, pretty dramatic. Next, they spot a cool statue, and Asta tells him to order one of those, too. Asta keeps feeding his head with all sorts of wild ideas. He even suggests a massive dragon statue, with shimmering, gorgeous scales everywhere. Meanwhile, back home, Lance is starting to get some really weird vibes. She is left wondering if something is going wrong. After a long walk, Asta suggests heading back to the dorms, and Damon finally agrees. During their little tour, Asta spotted exactly 7 troubleshooters hiding around. He factors in the ones he missed, bringing the total count to 10. Based on his math, he calculates that Perun's secret lab must be located in the second magic hall. It all clicks. He figures out the troubleshooters are definitely hunting for Perun. Since Declan already knows our main character has allies, they would naturally suspect Perun since he is the one in this area. Asta wondered why they were not following Perun yet, but realized they made their move just in time. He decides to step in and find out exactly what these troubleshooters know. He slips into the perfect position to eavesdrop on 2 of them talking. The first troubleshooter mentions that headquarters just issued a new directive. It is an emergency order. They have been told to gather at the target's nest immediately. The second asks if the target is the main or sub. Turns out they are going after the sub. They plan to finish their objective with the sub-target by midnight tonight. It is confirmed. Since the main guy moved, Perun is now their primary objective. However, one guy is worried the academy professors might actually be too strong for them. The other explains that Declan won't be coming to help personally. Instead, he reveals that the legendary fire demon, Callahan, is joining the fray. This is a shocker. Callahan is the vice leader of the Mage Corps. The Red Jewel. This basically confirms the operation is official and tells us that Declan is ready to do absolutely anything for this mission. But it also means the troubleshooters are disposable. They are just pawns for this mission. Even though they are terrified, these guys have no choice but to do their job. The 2 figures finally move away. They are moving into position to join the team, making sure they have the numbers just in case. But little did they know. Asta overheard everything, and he is shocked that Callahan of all people is also joining this mission. He knows Callahan is no small fry. Back when he was a troubleshooter, the guy was a beast. Callahan was already in his absolute prime. When the Declan family risked everything against the Blandors, Callahan stayed loyal until the very end. His devotion to a falling house shows just how dedicated this man really is. He is extremely dangerous right now. But he truly entered his peak after that brutal war with the Blandor family. He carved his name into history as a war mage, using fire that is basically unstoppable. With Callahan involved, Asta realizes it is absolutely crucial that he captures him. He remembers that Callahan magic is one of those secret Declan flame arts. The risks are massive, but worth it. Asta believes the reward is worth the gamble. Things are finally starting to go his way. Yet, one big mystery remains. That thesis everyone is hunting for, Asta has it, not Perun. Talk about a plot twist. If the troubleshooters are still hunting Perun, Asta starts to wonder if his own copy is fake. It means the one being delivered today is likely just a decoy to throw everyone off. Later, back at the dorms, Paul gets ready, revealing that he is actually one of the troubleshooters himself. He thinks Asta is out cold, but he is actually just staring at a dummy in the bed. Perun is in his study when he senses intruders encroaching on his turf. Big mistake. He is stunned. These troubleshooters are bold enough to actually infiltrate the academy like this. Right then, he realizes the troubleshooter coming for him is a mercenary, and shocker, it is Paul. Perun recognizes that distinct aura immediately. No hiding from him. He even gives Paul some advice. Maybe try refining those ether traits next time, kid. That is, if there is even a next time for him. Paul hands him an envelope, finally revealing the real mastermind. He wonders what kind of game Wee is playing. This guy is layered in so many different tricks right now. Suddenly, boom, the door explodes. Callahan strolls in, scaring the life out of Paul, while Perun stays completely chill. Callahan smells the fear. It is obvious Paul knows exactly what this legendary mage can do. Callahan turns to Perun, asking if his reputation has reached him as well. But Perun coldly says no. He stands up and tells Callahan to get to the point. This pisses Callahan off, but he manages to hold back his temper for now. He admits this is the first time anyone has ever treated him so disrespectfully. He lays out his terms, and first on the list, he wants Paul dead. Then he tells Perun he is going to leave him with only one arm and one eye. Callahan launches a massive fireball, but Perun blocks it with a burst of ice power. The clash creates a massive explosion that practically shakes the entire building. Perun looks over at Paul. He tells Paul he is responsible for his own life. In this room, he is a mercenary. Paul doesn't mind. He draws his sword, ready to fight for his own survival. Perun realizes the Declan troubleshooters must have cast a massive blackout spell. All right, you and I are seeing why the alarms are silent. Now, Perun is basically stuck here protecting Paul. Callahan spots the envelope sitting right there on the table. He is here for that specific letter. Sent by the trash Blander family, it is the ultimate prize for him. Perun is not handing it over. Big mistake. Now, Callahan is ready to unleash hell. He drops a massive flame spell, making the entire ground tremble from the impact. Perun stays icy calm. He readies his frost powers to shut down anything Callahan throws his way. Right then, the rest of the troubleshooters begin closing in on the scene. Pun finally gets serious. He lands a heavy strike that nearly brings the entire building down on everyone. From a distance, Asta is watching the chaos. He realizes things are getting way out of hand. Finally, some real action. He is actually starting to get excited. Asta slips on his mask. In this moment, he is not Asta, he is Troubleshooter 1. Clenching his fist, he prays to the moon for strength. He wants to be a hero today, even if he has not always been the most righteous of men. With that settled, he dives straight toward the fight. Ahead, the building is already starting to cave in. Inside, Callahan is having the time of his life. He loves the destruction. He is actually shocked. Despite all that fire, Paul is somehow still breathing. He has to respect the guy for it. Paul knows the truth. He would be toast if not for that protective talisman given to him by WJI. He had no idea what that charm even did. Talk about a massive stroke of luck. Perun's voice is icy cold when he speaks to Paul. He tells him to move. Then, he lets loose a massive blast of ice to counter Callahan's wild, raging fire. Perun actually pats Paul on the shoulder. You did good, he says. It looks like Paul has finally earned his trust. Then the unthinkable. Perun infuses Paul's sword with pure ether, leaving the guard totally stunned. Can you keep blocking? Perun asks. Paul does not hesitate with his answer. Yes. For as long as you need me to. Paul realizes there is no turning back now. If he cannot hold this line, he is finished for good. Callahan loves this new duo, a mage and a guard. This is the perfect challenge for him. Callahan fires another massive blast of flame, but this time around, Paul's sword finally gives out on him. He is slammed hard into the wall. With Paul gone, Perun realizes he has no choice but to finally go all out. Here is the deal. When mana is limited and two powerful beings try to command it at once, a brutal clash is inevitable. A brutal struggle for control starts between the two of them. Perun is ready. He wants to see exactly how much damage Callahan can actually take. A duel, Callahan is more than happy to give Perun exactly what he is asking for. Both of them unleash everything they have in a massive, earth-shaking collision. The building takes the brunt of it. It starts crumbling, and Paul loses his footing and falls. As he plunges down, he sees it. two total monsters tearing each other apart without holding anything back at all. Paul slams onto the hard floor below. He wonders why he even joined this fight. He is nowhere near the level of these two absolute beasts. Meanwhile, you and I can see the troubleshooters are stunned. The destruction these two are causing is just insane. It is obvious, if they try to jump in now, they will be crushed like insects. Just as they think they are safe. Estad drops in from the shadows, instantly wiping them out and sending everyone into a total panic. After clearing those annoying troubleshooters, Estad wastes no time heading straight toward the center of the fight. His sudden entrance stops everyone cold, and both sides are left wondering exactly whose side this guy is on. In a flash, Estad closes the gap, grabbing Callahan by the throat and telling him his journey ends right here. Terrified, Callahan tries a desperate fire blast, but the backlash hits him harder than his own spell. He is coughing up blood, but to his shock, Estad hasn't even broken his stride. He is already charging back in. Meanwhile, the troubleshooters are closing in to back their leader up. Callahan realizes he is in deep trouble unless he can get that mana backlash under control immediately. He grabs a potion and gulps it down, frantically wondering where on earth a monster like Estad even came from. The troubleshooters dive in, but Estad shuts them down, effortlessly blocking before blowing them away with a sharp counter. Callahan is speechless. Before he knows it, he's actually impressed. Estad moves with the kind of cold precision and efficiency you only see in legends. But respect doesn't stop the rage. Pissed off, Callahan screams that he is going to kill Estad. He starts layering magic circles like a madman, prepping a massive fire blast to wipe out everything in sight. The firepower is pure overkill. It is so intense it actually fries his own men in the process. Estad is totally gone. As the heavy smoke settles, Callahan stares into the haze, wondering if he managed to catch Estad. He knows he scorched his allies. But honestly, he doesn't care. In his mind, casualties don't matter as long as the mission is done. He stays on guard for a few more seconds, but seeing nothing, he figures Estad is finally dust. A smug smile creeps onto his face. Maybe he went a bit too hard there. He starts planning his move. If he can just join the other troubleshooters, he will definitely have the edge over Perun. Suddenly, his heart stops. Out of the smoke, Estad's voice asks him if that pathetic blast was really his best shot. Estad knew exactly what he'd do. He figured out Callahan's twisted nature, that he would happily burn his own men just to take an enemy down. Standing above, Estad aims his magic circle down, telling Callahan that his own actions have finally sealed his fate. He fires his Mona bullet. With zero time to react, Callahan can only watch as death comes flying. Direct hit. The Mona bullet punches through Callahan's skull with the force of a high-caliber round. With Callahan finally finished, Estad admits the guy was decent. Any other mage would have dropped after that first surprise attack. Those fire spells were deadly, sure, but that last reckless explosion actually worked in his favor. Estad knows it was close. If Callahan had actually worked with his team for a long-term fight, Estad might not have won. Even though he is a killing machine, his mana is running dangerously low, and that is not great. Estad walks up to Callahan's body to search it. Jackpot, he finds the grimoire, exactly what he came here to get his hands on. Naturally, battle mages are paranoid as hell. They never let their grimoires out of their sight. The pouch has a recognition spell, but that is not going to stop him. Estad doesn't seem stressed at all. He'll just find a way to break the spell later on. Right then, Perun finally arrives. Estad's first words, "You're late to the party, pal." Perun just shrugs it off. He was busy cleaning up the leftover weaklings. Then he gets serious. He asks Estad if he's another hunter after him. Estad tells him to use his head. He just took out one of Declan's men, so it's obvious whose side he's on. Hearing those words, Perun connects the dots. He realizes WJ sent him and finally lowers his guard. But Perun is still scratching his head. Why did Paul approach him? He wonders if WJ is splitting the research. Maybe that's why he sent two different messengers. Estad chimes in. He thinks the guy with Paul is a complete fake. WJ probably set this up as bait, just a fisherman reeling in Declan's men for the kill. Esta believes WJ is trying to tighten security in the whole region, while making sure Declan's influence is crushed to nothing. Deep down, Esta feels like something is seriously wrong with this whole situation. Even with a blackout spell, that fight was massive. The Imperial Knights should have been there already. There is only one explanation for this. The Imperial Knights have definitely been bribed and bought off by Declan too. Perun asks if Esta is the actual courier. For an answer, Esta pulls out the thesis and hands it over. Taking the document, Perun asks if he knows what's inside. Esta just smirks. He's not some clueless kid, he's fully aware. Yeah, he knows. Perun stays on edge, but Esta is chill. He's fine with fighting if it comes to that. But he warns him. Think twice, because whatever you choose next determines if you walk away or die. Perun respects the confidence. He agrees Esta is right, then asks what the kid wants for his help. Esta is confused, so Perun explains. WJ only trusts his own kind, and Esta is just like him. He feels like he has to earn Esta's trust by giving him something valuable back. Esta takes a minute to think. Finally, he tells Perun his price. He wants a book. Perun is baffled, so Esta shares his dream. He's going to build a massive grand tower. Esta explains that he'll fill the tower with books so that everyone has a chance to read them. He wants a specific one from Perun, a personal take on the deep secrets of arcane science. Perun is stunned by the request, but he nods. He'll get to work on it immediately. After their quick chat, Esta says it is time for him to disappear. But Perun stops him. How are they supposed to stay in contact? Esta pulls out a communication crystal and hands it over to Perun. He explains that these two halves are linked. Therefore, if one of them breaks, the other one shatters. Break one piece to call him. If there's real trouble, break more than that. Simple as that. With the explanation finished, the exchange is officially done. He vanishes into thin air. Moments later, the Imperial Knights finally show up on the scene to secure the area. They start moving the students out in case another follow-up attack is on the way. In the chaos, Esta manages to slip in and blend with the rest of the crowd. He finds Damon, who's wondering where he went. Esta just says he had some business to handle. Meanwhile, Esta is confident. After this mess, the Declan family is definitely going to have to back off. While Damon keeps pestering him, Esta's mind is elsewhere. Why did his sigil react during that fight? As he blocks Callahan's strike, Esta feels a strange power vibrating through his defensive barrier. It is weird, since this thing usually stays completely dormant on normal days. Still, Esta is grateful that the sigil kicked in to help him stop that counterattack. He pieces it all together and realizes he is looking at a classic case of rejection phenomenon. This is a defensive trick mages use to make sure their own powerful magic doesn't blow back on them. Esta is so rattled and confused that he actually ends up speaking his thoughts out loud. This catches Damien's attention immediately, and he demands to know exactly what Esta doesn't get. Damien demands to know exactly what kind of secret Esta is hiding. Esta just ignores Damien and keeps wondering why the sigil reacted then and what could have possibly set the thing off. Regardless, he knows he needs to do some serious digging into the matter. He's betting that the Academy Library will have the clues he needs to solve this. While Esta is lost in thought, a student calls out to him and introduces himself as Chenbi. Esta brushes the guy off until Chenbi mentions that he's actually a pretty decent fighter. Now Esta is instantly torn between taking Chenbi out for knowing too much or just letting the guy live. Before he makes a move, Chenbi says something that accidentally ends up saving his own life. Apparently, he was super impressed by the way Esta handled the combat division at the entrance ceremony. Esta finally understands he actually earned respect when he thought he just made a bad first impression. He tries to stay humble, telling Chenbi his opponent was just low on ether and a rematch might go way differently. Chenbi just scratches his head, but he keeps following them anyway, insisting that he wants to hang out with Esta. He admits with a smile that he hasn't made friends yet and feels awkward with other groups. While Ista isn't exactly thrilled about having a new shadow. He tells him to do whatever he wants. Chenbi is thrilled because he totally expected to get rejected. Chenbi starts yapping away immediately, throwing all sorts of conversation topics at Ista. It actually gives Ista a bit of sanity after dealing with constant lunatics since he returned to the past. Basically, he had forgot what it even feels like to live a normal life. To make this normal life real, Ista knows he has to fully commit to academy life. On the very first day of lectures, Damien is already whining about being totally exhausted. Chenbi shows up too, unable to believe they are stuck in class after all the madness that happened yesterday. And Ista actually agrees, calling the schedule harsh. From what Ista can gather, Chenbi clearly isn't from a wealthy family, but he doesn't seem like the timid type. Actually, he seems like a pretty upbeat and cheerful guy. That's when Chenbi mentions their M3 homeroom teacher is the one and only Professor Jura. Ista has no clue who that is, so Chenbi explains that Jura is a total legend. Apparently, she once wiped out an entire horde of trolls all by herself. Suddenly, Jura walks in, and Ista recognizes her instantly from the school's entrance ceremony. Jura stands before the students and introduces herself to the new class. She tells them that all the crazy chaos that went down at the school yesterday has nothing to do with them, so they should just focus on their lessons now. Our instructor, Jura, drops a bombshell. Before anything else, the class is facing a surprise mana assessment test. This isn't just about raw power, but the actual quality too. Then she asks the big question, which one actually matters more? A brave student named Argan raises her hand, ready to give it a shot. She argues there's no single right answer, but if you've already got enough mana to work with, then quality is what truly counts. Jura isn't satisfied. She demands to know the logic behind that specific choice. Argan explains that if two mages have the same level of raw power, the one with better quality wins out. Watching this, Ista realizes something very important. He knows she's just reciting a line straight out of a basic textbook. Thanks to Ista's battle experience, he understands quality dictates the accuracy, stability, and lethal force of every spell. Basically, massive mana reserves are useless if you can't even hit your target. But Jura looks totally unimpressed. Disappointment is written in every line of the instructor's cold face. She asks which family Argan belongs to, and the girl mentions she's from Baron Pelham's house. Jura looks disgusted, acting like she already knew it was someone noble. This cold rejection leaves poor Argan shattered and in tears. Jura throws the question back to the class, but everyone is terrified of suffering the same public humiliation. Suddenly, she points straight at a student named Ippel. He stands up shaking. Since he's clueless, he just takes a guess. He claims that mana quantity is actually the most important. He argues that in massive, large-scale battles, having more total mana would have a bigger impact. Ista actually agrees slightly. There are definitely moments where pure quantity can outweigh refined quality. Both are vital, but it really depends on the specific situation you find yourself in. Poor Ippel, though. Jura hates that answer too. She gives him the exact same cold treatment she gave to Argan. She isn't stopping until someone gives her a suitable answer, so she keeps calling on the students one after another. The class starts whispering about how annoying she is, stressing everyone out on the very first day of school. Meanwhile, Ista is deep in thought, trying to figure out what answer Jura actually wants. Right then, Jura stops. She says she's heard enough and admits that everyone was actually getting pretty close to the truth. The twist: there was never a correct answer to begin with. She wasn't looking for one. She asks if those answers truly came from their hearts, or if they were just desperately trying to say whatever they thought she wanted to hear. She reminds the class that a true mage must never lose their conviction, no matter the circumstances. Furthermore, they cannot be swayed by temptation. They must have the strength to uphold their will until the end. She looks at them and asks, with those weak and shaky answers, could they really call their mindset that of a true mage? Jura drops the ultimate lesson. their first priority is becoming real, dedicated mages. With the point made, she urges every student to keep that message close to their hearts. In the end, Asta realizes he was right all along. This lady has a seriously weird way of teaching. When it's time for the mana measurement, the first person Jera calls up is Argan. Jera shocks the entire room by naming the girl as the new class representative. She admits Argan's answer was actually impressive, and since she is now the rep, she is the one tasked with recording every single measurement. Asta is stunned by this, seeing just how JRA chooses to train her students. Typical Asta, he is truly impressed by the whole setup. The students are shocked to see equipment that is supposedly incredibly rare to find. JRA knows that most of them have never seen anything like it. And she smiles wickedly, saying it is time to gauge their mana levels. The whole point of the test is to see if a monster hides among them. JRA explains that using the device is actually a very simple process. To show the class how it works, she tells Argan to place her hand on the crystal and channel her mana. Argan steps up and follows the order, causing the orb to glow with an intense light. This is mind-blowing, and JRA points to the primary indicator among the many on the device. She says the quality of mana is measured from 1 to 10, and Argan's level 4 makes her an impressive young talent. Apparently, last year's freshman only managed an average of 3. Argan blushes deeply at the news and thanks JRA for the kind compliment. Next, JRA says it is time to measure her total mana quantity, so she must pour all her energy into the machine. As for her mana quantity, she stops at 17. Surprisingly, JRA calls this a great score since the last freshman only reached 15. JRA praises her, saying she clearly works very hard to achieve such a crazy high score. This immediately sets the standard. The rest of the students start praying they can get a good result, too. Asta, meanwhile, can already tell that Argan is going to become quite decent. JRA has to leave shortly to attend to some urgent business of her own. But she tells her assistant to keep going with the measurements. The students begin stepping forward one by one to test their inner potential. With these numbers, they all know exactly where they need to improve their skills. Just then, Chembi walks over to Asta, telling him to get up so they can finally measure their mana. Asta agrees, but Damien is once again busy sleeping like a total sheep. Suddenly, a student named Furion steps up, and her score leaves the entire class in shock. Furion hits level 6 for quality and her quantity reaching 20. Asta is surprised to see Furion is from the same house as Dahlia. But their hair colors are different, meaning she is likely from a branch family. The assistant also knows why she is so impressive, given her prestigious family background. However, he lets her know that she still has some work to do. A bit later, Damien finally wakes up from his deep slumber, completely confused about everything going on. Asta first tells him to just go back to sleep, but then explains they are actually doing mana measurements right now. Damien seems totally bored and asks why they are even doing this experiment in class. Asta says he has no idea. But since it costs them nothing, they might as well try it while they are in the middle of a class session. Damien gets excited and yells that he wants to measure his mana, too. Asta cannot believe Damien is actually rushing in, while people gossip about how young he looks. Asta has also become quite famous since his last big fight. Out of the group, Chenbi is the only mystery man. Asta is seriously annoyed by this student beater label, especially since Damon was the one actually getting hyped. Damon steps up to the stage as the teacher tells him to test out the device. Once he figures out the drill, Damon touches the ball, and the second the reading appears, the entire class is left in absolute shock. Nobody can believe their own eyes. Right now, and even Furion nearly breaks her neck while staring up at the scoreboard. Damien is officially in a league of his own, a total monster. We're talking level 9 mana quality and a massive quantity of 67. In this entire room, Asta is the only person who is not surprised even a little bit. He knows exactly why everyone froze. They are witnessing true greatness here. Asta knew Damon was a genius, but he did not expect him to completely destroy the high scores. Damien, being Damien, has no clue how insane he just looked, casually asking if that score is even good. Staff finally understands how Damon turned into such a beast. He is certain Damien could have changed the world if he had just stayed on the right path. But this time, Esta is here to nurture him and ensure he follows the right path. After all, the Blandor family is the only force that can truly rival Declan. Esta plans to help Damien transcend, even beyond what anyone thought was possible. The teacher warns Damon not to let this success get to his head, since he still needs to work hard. Damien promises his teacher that he is fully aware of the challenge ahead. Damien rushes back to Esta, immediately asking if he has done his test yet. Esta says no, but Damon pushes him, knowing the whole class is itching to compare them. With no way out, he walks up to the ball, determined to keep things low-key and avoid drawing any unwanted attention to himself. Esta touches the ball after suppressing his mana exactly how he wants. But he quickly realizes the ball limit is set so low that even his small amount of mana did something crazy. The screen initially reads 10 for Esta. But then the machine glitches, flashing an error message because he crossed the threshold. Damien starts celebrating in pure excitement. But Esta quickly tells the teacher they need a rerun since the machine clearly just malfunctioned. Damon is the only person here who knows Esta is just trying to be humble. The teacher resets the machine, and this time Esta suppresses his mana so much it only reads 3 for quality and 15 for quantity. The students buy it instantly, which is exactly what Esta was aiming for. Esta is just relieved that he managed to pull off the deception. However, Damon is not happy about this at all, and he even lets out a curse. Over at the magic department, JRA watches the reconstruction of the second mage hall from her office. A moment later, the assistant teacher, Yuvi, arrives with the mana measurement records. JRA reviews the scores, noting that Damon is impressive, but he is definitely going to need some guidance. Suddenly, her eyes land on Esta's score, and she notices there was a retest because of an error message. The moment she spots this, she realizes Esta is no ordinary kid and needs watching. Later, we see the trio using magic to create toys together. Chenbi is absolutely blown away by how much mana Damien can exert without even breaking a sweat. Watching this, Chenbi finally realizes he is just a tiny player in this massive game. Seeing that look, Ah immediately knows exactly what he is thinking. Still, he hopes Chenbi can face reality and keep moving. Game over. Damon admits he had a blast and is actually happy he came. Hearing this, Esta breathes a deep sigh of relief. He is just glad Damon is finally fitting in. Later on, Esta finally cracks the spatial pocket he grabbed earlier. With 0 mana sense, it took him a whole month to get in. During that time, he also finished absorbing Blandor's elixir into his manhua form. Plus, he has been soaking up tons of knowledge at the academy. Now that the pocket is open, he dives right into the loot. The first thing he finds, a simple potion. Next up is a cloak, though it seems pretty useless to him. He finds a defensive artifact, which is a great pull, before finally uncovering one of Declan's secret grimoires, the Red Flame. This is a lesser secret spell based on the Blue Flame technique. Apparently, it is an elite magic capable of incinerating entire forces with ease. He cannot master it instantly, so he knows this will take time. All right, you and I are heading into the midterms now. Esta is shocked by the crowd, while Chenbi notes all first years are here. Chenbi whispers that the rumors are flying fast. Word is the test involves the canyon breakthrough after someone overheard a staff member. Apparently, the midterms are split into 3 parts, starting with the trial corridor, a maze-like sewer where everyone must race to reach the final goal. Second is the canyon breakthrough, a high-stakes race to the finish. Finally, there is the simulator, where you duel either monsters or other people. Esta knows these 3 tests inside and out by now. He isn't worried, all he needs to do is pass. However, he is concerned for Chenbi, who isn't exactly top tier. The students are still debating the test when a thunderous voice suddenly booms across the scene. demanding absolute silence from everyone. It is Pin. He introduces himself to the students and announces that he will be the one overseeing the entire performance evaluation today. Right away, Pin drops the news. Their first test is going to be the trial corridor. Chenbi nearly loses it when he hears this, because the secret little plan he had in his head is completely cooked. Perrin tells everyone to line up while he breaks down the rules. He explains that the trial corridor is basically a maze-like sewer you have to navigate to reach the end. No matter which path you take, they all eventually lead to the goal. Chenbi smiles. If that's it, this test is going to be a breeze. But get this, those were just the boring, basic rules. It turns out Perrin has something else planned as he unveils a horde of golems. Chenbi absolutely freaks out when he sees them. He cannot believe they are actually using giant combat golems for a midterm performance test. Perrin notes the golems are slow and dull. Still, these things are absolute tanks for their current level. But with exposed cores and lower durability, these students might actually have a fighting chance here. Nonetheless, Perun warns them, in a cramped space, those golems will hunt them down fast. Looking at their terrified faces, Perun can't help but feel a bit let down. He's certain some of these kids have potential, though, after scanning the crowd for a moment. He shrugs Damien off as a nobody. The kid just looks way too plain to be a threat. The professor explains the rules. These golems are strictly gatekeepers for the trial. It's up to the students to either smash through or find a way around. He then adds that everyone gets a special test bracelet. It generates a force field to keep them from dying. But he makes it clear, once that shield shatters, you're out. The golems will stop attacking, but your test is officially over. With the ground rules finally set, Perun notices the mood is still dead, so he decides to dangle a carrot. He tells them to impress him by any means possible, promising the winner a personal reward they'll absolutely adore. As soon as Asta hears that, he's completely fired up. Whatever Perun is offering, he wants it. We find out Rapida is the biggest library on the whole eastern continent. The place is split into 3 main sections: upper, middle, and lower. With his current status, Asta's stuck in the lower tier. He searched every corner for clues, but came up empty-handed. There's nothing useful for him in this bargain bin section. Because of that, Asta realizes that if he wants to find those hidden clues, he'll have to find a way into the restricted upper tiers. The problem, those areas are restricted to royals, top nobles, and the elite. There's another way in, though. He needs a solid recommendation from 3 or more professors. Knowing this, Asta knows he has to blow Perun away. Once the rules are finally finished, the professor gives them a short prep window to scramble and collect some useful supplies from the faculty to help. The students immediately swarm the assistants, screaming for high-level artifacts to carry them through the challenge. However, most of their greedy requests are shut down. They aren't allowed anything that gives a major edge. While the others are shouting and losing their minds, Damien simply walks up and asks for 20 vine seeds. The assistant is totally baffled. Why would Damien want seeds when his primary element is something else? But Damien just shrugs. He doesn't have a primary element, which means he can still pull off plant magic. Asta's caught off guard. He didn't expect the nonchalant Damien to actually be making real preparations. At the same time, Asta's eager to see if Chenbi will finally step up and show his true colors. With prep time over, Perun starts handing out the assigned starting locations for the trial. Everyone crowds around to check the list and find their designated entry point. Asta goes to find his name and realizes that the system has placed him right at starting point 3. He looks around and notices the other 2 are nowhere near his assigned entry location. Looking at his squad, Asta realizes there are 6 other guys there whose names he doesn't even know. Suddenly, an arrogant noble approaches Asta, flanked by 2 of his loyal followers. He introduces himself as Debbie and offers a deal, seeing that Asta is actually pretty skilled with a blade. Asta tells him to speak. Debbie reveals his plan to buy up the bracelets from any students who get eliminated. He offers to pay Asta 30 gold coins for every single bracelet collected. He excludes Asta and his 2 friends from the count, assuming they stay in. That brings the total to 90 gold coins. Asta is floored because that is a whole month's income for a poor family. Debbie expects the commoner to jump at the offer since he's clearly from the slums. In reality, the noble just wants to protect his own skin. And Asta actually agrees with that. Call it cowardice if you want, but he sees it as the art of making the most of every situation. If these rich kids want to throw money at their problems, let them. But then, Asta asks the noble why he calculated 90 gold. Debbie assumes the money is not enough and offers to add 5 gold coins each, making it 105 gold. Asta tells him the math still doesn't work. He points out there are 3 other guys plus Debbie and his 2 lackeys, making 6 people on the team. Then he asks why Debbie left his own life out of the equation. By Asta's count, he tells Debbie the right price is 210 gold. The trio stands there in total shock and disbelief. Debbie is fuming at the sheer confidence coming off this peasant. He raises the offer to 40 gold coins each, thinking 35 was just too low. Asta flips it right back, telling him the total is now 240 gold coins. Debbie explodes in anger, unable to believe Asta is squeezing every bit of profit from this deal, even if it might cost him his life. Seeing he can't win, the noble decides to back out. The noble believes it is better if they just back off. He tells Asta the deal is off and starts to leave the scene. Asta calls out, asking him exactly where he thinks he's going. He tells Debbie that he already owes him money, which sets the noble off. The guy demands to know what on earth Asta means by that statement. Asta explains it simply. Think of 3 packs and 3 people inside a carriage. Even if those packs are gone. Asta tells him he still has to pay for the people inside the carriage. With a wicked grin, he drops the hammer. He demands 120 gold coins, that is 40 gold for each member. The lackeys jump in to defend their boss, yelling that Asta is nothing compared to him. One of them gets brave and gets right in Asta's face, threatening to beat him. However, he quickly realizes he messed up once. He feels the shift in Asta's deadly aura. Desperate to avoid a fight, Debbie agrees to pay the 120 gold. But as he reaches for his wallet, Asta bumps the price to 160. His targets are nobles after all. Debbie has no choice but to pay up, though he warns Asta he will suffer for taking that coin. Finally, it's time for the students to make their way into the dark corridor. Pune gives a final warning. If that bracelet's function is disabled, you're out of the game. He explains that the barrier only triggers against direct spells or mana-infused physical strikes to the body. It is pretty simple logic. Essentially, if that shield breaks, the bracelet stays behind while the student is warped right out of the testing grounds without a second thought. Because of this, Parun promises everyone that they really do not have to worry about any injuries today. With the rules finally set, Parun signals his team of assistants to kick off the exam. Then, the students are warped in and the live feed starts broadcasting. While scanning the map to check on the starting points, Parun spots something interesting. It looks like Damien and Dahlia started together. But then, total chaos. The camera feed for starting point 3 completely freezes up out of nowhere. The assistants start panicking, thinking they must have messed up the technical checks beforehand. But Parun keeps his cool and tells them, reminding everyone that he double-checked the system himself earlier. Little do they know, a brutal fight is already breaking out with some lackeys. Moments earlier, Dite and his goons wasted 0 time ambushing our main character the second they stepped onto the field. Knowing 1 hit from magic means an instant game over. Asta guns it, weaving through their initial spells with total ease. He is so fast that the goons are left frozen as he closes the gap like a lightning bolt. Before they even blink, Asta starts throwing hands. He is not trying to kill them, just to knock them right out of the test. He is basically a blur, landing heavy blows that send the group crashing hard to the ground. After teaching the goons a lesson, he makes sure the leader pays the price. demanding 320 gold coins for being such a huge pain. On top of that, he tells the guy he is charging 1 silver coin for every single hit. By the time he is done, the guy's face is swollen up like a balloon, specifically to create stories and translate them into other languages. So after having the translation and checking the translation in detail, and I gave this translation to our partner abroad to create audio and process the audio, we have an audio file like this as for the images. That appear in our videos are collected from Google Images, and then we will only select images that fall under usage rights allowed for reuse and modification. We use Google's rights filtering tool according to the